Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Rochester. I'm Reverend AJ. I use he and him pronouns. And normally we begin our services with embodiment and music and singing, and we will get to that. But because we have a special guest, Perry Ground, we're going to begin with him. Perry Ground is a storyteller and cultural educator, a member of the Onondaga Nation and of the Turtle Clan of the Haudenosaunee. So I will hand it over to him to begin our worship.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? All right. We are gathered here today in joy and happy to be together. So my name is Perry Ground. I am a Turtle Clan member of the Onondaga Nation. And today we are going to learn a little bit more about Native. It's participatory all day today, so stay with me. Yeah, we're going to learn more about Native Americans, and I'll be up here talking with you a few times throughout the service today. But whenever the Haudenosaunee, the Native people of New York State, right here where we are today, whenever the Haudenosaunee get together, we have something that we say. And it's very, very important to us that we say these words. In fact, our name for it in our languages translates to the words that come before other words. It's what we're supposed to say first. In English, we usually call it the Thanksgiving address. And in the Thanksgiving address, we give thanks for everything in the world around us. And it's very important, but it's kind of like a mantra. It is supposed to center you. It is supposed to bring you together. And it's supposed to bring us all together so that we are all working and thinking in a good way, what we call using the good mind, and that we are thankful for the things in the world around us. Now, when we give the Thanksgiving address, each person does it in their own way. There are some people, when they give this address, that they can give it for about 2 hours. So get comfortable. We're going to have a short version of it this morning. But it's very important to the Haudenosaunee that we give the Thanksgiving address. So let's have it right now. Well, we will bring our minds together as one, and we'll lift up our hearts and our minds with thanksgivings for all the things in the world around us. We'll give thanks to the people who have gathered here today, and we'll think about the ones who could not join us as well. But we'll bring our hearts and our minds together as one, that when we greet each other, we say, Nyawe Scano, I give thanks that you are well. And we'll bring our hearts and minds together and lift them up with joy as we spend this time together today. Now we'll give our thanksgivings to our mother, the earth, the one who supports us. She provides all the things that we need to survive, and we give our thanksgivings to her for everything she does to sustain us. And now our minds are one. Now we'll think about the things on the back of our mother, and we'll think about the water that runs across her back. We know that water is important, and that water is life and sustains us. So we give thanks to all the waters in the world around us, from the smallest stream to the big river, to the giant lake, to the great oceans. And we give thanks to all that water that keeps us alive. And now our minds are one. We'll give thanks to the plants that grow upon the back of our mother, from the smallest grasses to the low bushes to the big, large bushes and all the other plants that give us food and medicine. We will particularly give thanks to those 3 plants that sustain us, the corn and beans and squash that we call the 3 sisters. And we'll bring our hearts and minds together as one as we give thanks for all the plants in the world around us. Now we'll think about the creatures that crawl across the back of our mother, whether they walk on 2 legs, 4 legs, 8 legs, 100 legs. We give thanks to all of the smallest creatures, the bugs, the 4-leggeds, the 2-leggeds, and everyone that walks along the back of our mother. They provide for us many things, whether it be food or materials that we use in our Unguhunwe Ka, our traditional Native American way of living. And we'll bring our hearts and minds together as one as we give thanks for all the animals here on earth. Now we'll think about those trees, those great trees that grow all around us, that provide for us wood and bark to build our houses, that provide for us shade in the summertime, that provide for us the oxygen that we need to continue to breathe. And we'll bring our hearts and minds together as one as we give thanks for all of those trees. We'll give particular thanks to the maple tree, the leader of all the trees, who gives us that sweet sap to make the syrup, but also tells us that springtime is here. And now our minds are one. Now we'll continue on up towards the sky, and we'll give thanks to all the birds that fly in the world around us. We give thanks to those birds for the things that they teach us, for the things they provide for us that we use in our traditional way of living. We'll give particular thanks to the eagle, that great one who watches over us, that carries our thoughts and words up to the Creator, as he is the one that can fly the highest. And we'll bring our hearts and minds together as one as we lift up our thanksgivings and our love to all those birds that live in the world around us. Now, as we continue into the sky, we will think about our grandfathers, the thunderers, the ones that bring that rain that we need. We may not like it when that rain falls down, like last night, but we are thankful for that rain because we know it resupplies the water here on earth, and that we need those thunderers to bring that rain and to bring the changing of the seasons as we prepare for wintertime. We bring our hearts and minds together as one as we give thanks to our grandfather, the thunderers. And now our minds are one. Now we'll continue on up into the sky, and we'll give thanks to our elder brother. He's shining his light and warmth down on us today, and we'll go outside and enjoy a beautiful day. So we lift up our love and our joy, and we send it to the sun, who sustains us, gives us light and warmth, and provides everything that the plants and animals need here on the Great Turtle Island. And now our minds are one. Let's turn our thoughts to the nighttime and our grandmother, the moon. And she watches over us each night, and she controls many things here on the Turtle Island, what we call Earth. She controls the tides and the waters here on the earth. She guides us at nighttime from place to place, and she brings forth the cycle in women that allow them to bring new life into the world. So we'll lift up our minds and our hearts, and we'll give thanksgivings to our grandmother, the moon. And now our minds are one. We continue on up to the stars, and we thank those stars for guiding us at the nighttime, and we know that they tell us many important things. Right now, the great bear is laying down to go to sleep, and so we know winter is coming. But then we'll see those 7 brothers, the Pleiades, dancing directly above us. And we'll know it's time for the new year to begin. So we'll bring our hearts and minds together as one, and we'll give thanksgivings to the stars for all the things that they can teach us. Now we'll continue on up into the spirit world, and we'll give thanks to the 4 spirit helpers who watch over us. Years ago, they came to a Seneca man named Skenyadayo, meaning handsome lake. And they brought to him Gaiweo, the good word or the good message, that revitalized our traditional religion. And those 4 spirit helpers rest their hands on our shoulders, and they guide us through this world and teach us to think with the good mind. So we'll lift up our hearts and our thanksgivings to those 4 spirit helpers. And now our minds are one. And now we will come to the land of the Creator, Sakwiyontizo, and we'll give our best thoughts, our most love, and our greatest joy to that great Creator, the one who teaches us everything that we need to know to survive in this world, that provides all the things that we need to stay alive. And we'll bring our hearts and minds together as one as we lift up all of that love to Sakwiyontizo, the Creator. And now our minds are one. Now, because I am an imperfect person and I'm only a human being, there are many things that I had to leave out of that great Thanksgiving today. If there is something that you are thankful for or joyful for, lift up your heart and give thanksgivings to all those things in the world around us. But now, our minds will come together as one. And now I will say to you, Daneho. When you hear me say Daneho, very simply in Onondaga, it means I am done. So Daneho, that address is done.
Please rise our body and body our spirit as we sing, We Give Thanks.
Precious day. One more time. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. For all gathered here and those far away. For this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
One of the things we give thanks for is that we are a community, a people with a purpose. Our purpose here, our mission at First Unitarian, is that through spiritual connection in community, we listen deeply to others and ourselves, we open to wonder and transformation, and we serve together with love and humility. If you are new or new-ish here, please stop by our welcome desk so we can greet you more individually and help you get connected to things around here. And if you didn't know that between the services we have connections, time for small group gatherings. One of the things we have there is the Inquirers series, which meets every Sunday and is the great place to learn more about our faith and our church, and we rotate through different topics. So if you didn't come at 10:30, and this goes for everyone, I would say, if you didn't come at 10:30, come early for connection. If you're here this morning because you are going through a hard time or you are worried about somebody else who is, please reach out to our pastoral care team. We have a lay pastoral care associates who can connect with you on Sunday mornings or throughout the week, meet up for a cup of coffee, be a listening ear. And I see Susan in the back wearing a beige and rainbow stole. You can connect with her during or after the service. A couple quick announcements. In 2 weeks, we're going to have our Memory Tree service, our annual all-ages service to remember our beloveds who have departed in the past, particularly those in the last year. There will be a spoken litany of all those names. Some of them we know, and some of them we would need you to tell us. So please see the newsletter for a link to a form to fill out to give us the name and pronunciation of any beloveds from your life who passed away in the last year. We would love to honor them in this service. This Saturday coming up is the No Kings protest, so have a plan for where you'll be and who you'll be with. And if you'd like to be trained as a marshal, we have a training happening here at First Unitarian at 1 p.m., so shortly after our service concludes, there will be that training for marshals for this upcoming protest and any others down the line. So I invite you now to settle into this time and place, take a deep breath. And wherever you may be, those of you online, light a chalice wherever you are. And here in the sanctuary, I'm going to invite up Laura and Eloise to light our chalice as we share in the unison words. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift.
I invite you once more to rise and body your spirit as we sing When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our stories from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power
All right, all right. Well, good morning once again, everybody. How is everybody doing today? All right. The choir scared me earlier in the first service when they got up because I'd only been talking for about 5 minutes, and I thought, did I scare them away already? But then they got up and sang that beautiful song. So, well, good morning, everybody. I'm so glad that we could be here together. And it's very important that we greet each other with that very, very special greeting. When the Haudenosaunee people get together, that we say, Nyawe Skeno, that we give thanks that you are well. And that's how we greet each other. So being thankful is a very, very important thing. And today we want to learn a little bit more about the Haudenosaunee. Now, I hope you know that when I say the word Haudenosaunee, I'm talking about the Native Americans who live right here in what we now call upstate New York. And when we're talking about the Haudenosaunee, we're not talking about just one tribe of people. We're talking about 5 different tribes of people that lived all across upstate New York, from over by where Albany is today to right here along the Genesee River. And all through this area, these 5 different tribes have lived for thousands of years. But a long time ago, the people of the 5 tribes did not get along at all. In fact, a long time ago, about 1,000 years ago, they were constantly fighting and constantly at war. It's participatory, so stay with me today. Well, when those 5 tribes were fighting with each other, fortunately for us, for the Haudenosaunee, about 1,000 years ago, a man came to live among us. We call him the Peacemaker. When the Peacemaker came here to us, we say that he landed at a place called Onondaga Bay, if you know where this is, yeah. And he started to spread a message of peace among the people of all 5 nations. And fortunately, the people listened to him, and they joined themselves together in a peaceful union or confederacy. And when the Peacemaker got us to join together, he said, from now on, each tribe will have their own name. You've probably heard the names of these tribes before. There was the Kanyangega, the Onondaga, the Onondaga, the Gayagahono, and the people from right here, the Onondaga. Have we heard those names before? Maybe you've heard them in English. There was the Mohawk, the Oneida, the Onondaga, where I come from, the Cayuga, and the people who live right here, the Seneca people, yeah. So you have heard those names before. Those first words that I said are the names that we call ourselves in our own languages. But when the Peacemaker joined us together and he said each tribe would have that own name, he said collectively we should call ourselves Haudenosaunee. Haudenosaunee. And that is the name that we call ourselves right to this day. When people came across the ocean from other parts of the world, like those French people, some of them started to call us Iroquois, or some people pronounce it Iroquois. And maybe you've heard that word before as well. But today we're going to use the word Haudenosaunee because that is the name that we prefer. That is the name that we call ourselves. Now, one thing about the Haudenosaunee that we love to do is we love to tell stories. And stories are very important to us because they express the beliefs and the values and the ideas that are important within our communities. The same as maybe stories that you hear when you come here, right? And that we have these shared beliefs, and stories are a way that we can share these beliefs. We have many stories. We're going to hear a couple of them today, but the one that we're going to hear right now is our story of how the whole world got to be here. It's a very, very important story to us. It's also a very long story. If I told you the whole thing, it would take about 3 days to tell it. So get comfortable. I hope you brought snacks. No, we don't have time to hear the whole story, but we're going to hear a small but very important piece of this story. And the story teaches us many things about being Unguhunwe, about being a human being. Unguhunwe is our word for real person or human being. And it teaches us so many different things in this story. But the important thing about telling it over and over and over and over again, like coming here every Sunday, is that it gives us a shared belief system. It's not just them that we tell one time and that some people believe. When we tell it over and over, We all believe it. And so it's very important that we tell these stories in this way. We have 3 stories, actually, that are very important to us that teach us how to be human beings. One of them is about that man, I already mentioned him in the Thanksgiving, Skenyadayo, Handsome Lake. And about 225 years ago, he brought us a message that we call Gaiwio, the good word or the good message. It's all about our traditional religion. Then we have the story of the peacemaker, the guy that joined us together. Very important to us. And then we have this one, the story of creation, that I'm going to share with you right now. So, here we go. This is the Haudenosaunee story of creation. Around us today. Things like trees or grass or rocks or people. Well, none of these things were here. All that was here was water. Water covered the whole world in every direction. As far as the eye could see, there was only water. Now you got it? Yeah. Well, in the water there are animals that lived. Fish, beaver, clam, animals that like to live in the water. On top of the water there were birds, ducks, seagulls, swans, all kinds of birds that like to live on top of the water. And up above these birds and animals, there was a blue dome that covered the whole sky. It's what the Haudenosaunee people call the sky dome. And if you go outside and look up, it's still up above us right now. Well, the birds and animals down in the water back then, they didn't know it. But up above that sky dome, there is another world. It's what the Haudenosaunee people call the sky world or the spirit world. It's what some people today call heaven. Well, up in that sky world, there are people that live that look just like we do. We call them sky people. And the sky people, back then, lived like the Haudenosaunee did a long time ago. They lived in houses that were and made out of wood and bark. They wore clothes that were made out of animal skin and fur, like the deer skin I'm wearing right now. They hunted for animals. The deer, the bear, the moose, the elk. They used tools like a bow and they planted crops in the ground. Corn, beans, squash. And they called them the 3 sisters, like we still do today. But also up in that world, there was one tree that grew that was very important, called the tree of life. And the tree was important because out of it grew big white flowers. And out of the flowers came light. So it was a very important tree. But one day, something happened to the great tree. The great tree started to shake. The great tree started to quake. The great tree started to tremble. And the great tree, boom, crashed over onto the ground. The roots of the tree pulled up out of the ground, and it made a big hole. The sky people, they heard about the tree falling over. Everybody came rushing out to see what had happened. One woman came out. Her name was Yojichitsen, which in English means mature flower. When Yojichitsen came out to see the tree, she saw the big hole in the ground. And she saw that the hole was so big, it went all the way through to the world of water down below. Sky people back then, they didn't know about the world below their feet. Yojichitsen wanted to see what was down in the hole. So she got herself right up close to the edge, and she bent over to have a look. But as she was looking down at the beautiful things down below, the ground on the edge of the hole crumbled, and her foot slipped. Oh! And she fell. She fell down into the hole. She reached out and tried to grab on to the sides of the hole to stop herself from falling. But all that she came up with was 2 handfuls of dirt. She slid down into the hole and tumbled towards the water down below. But as the woman was falling down through the sky, some of those birds happened to look up, and they said, but the birds knew that woman couldn't fall down that far and survive. They decided to fly up to catch her in their wings, to bring her down safely. The ducks and geese were selected. So they were the ones that flew up into the air. They spread out their wings, and they made a nice bed for the woman. She landed right on their backs. And then they turned and started to glide. Slow. Bringing the woman down safely. But as they were coming down through the air, one of the geese got a very smart idea in his mind. He flew ahead of all of the rest, and he came down to the surface of the water. There he found a great snapping turtle, Haudenosaunee in Onondaga language. And that goose said, on the water like we do, but it doesn't look like she can swim like you or the fish. She needs a place to live in our world. May we put her on your back so she stays out of the water? Well, Haudenosaunee, the turtle, he got to thinking about this for a minute, and he said,
that would be a very good thing. You may put the Sky Woman onto my back.
and that is what we call this woman right to this day. We call her Sky Woman, what the 2 animals named her. But Haudenosaunee, the turtle, very wise, and he said something else. He said,
My back, my shell. It is very hard. It is very bumpy. I do not think the Sky Woman would be very comfortable. But at the bottom of this ocean, there is dirt and mud. If somebody could go down and bring some up, they could put it on my back. Then the Sky Woman has a good place to live.
everybody thought this was a really good idea. So they tried to dive down to the bottom of that ocean. The beaver went down. The otter went down. The loon tucked her wings and tried to dive down. But the water was too deep. No one could reach the bottom. Until along came a little small animal, maybe only this big. He's got a long, skinny tail. He's got little round black eyes. And today, some people don't like this animal. They think he's very dirty. But he's very important to the Haudenosaunee. And he lives right around here. His name, Muskrat. That muskrat took in a big gulp of air. He dove down into the water and he kicked his arms and legs and he swam 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 all the way to the bottom of that ocean. Muskrat grabbed a paw full of dirt and brought it back up to the surface. There the other animals came and took the dirt from Muskrat's paw and they smoothed it out on the back of the big turtle. The birds came down and they put the Sky Woman onto the new patch of land. When she came down onto it, first she started to walk. But then she heard some music, so she started to dance, pushing one foot in front of the other. And as she shuffled her feet along the back of the big turtle, that piece of land started to grow. And it grew, and it grew, and Earth, or North America, this place where we live. But also for being the leader of all the berries. Because every year, around June, strawberry is the first one to grow. He tells everybody else it's time to start growing. But when we have that Thanksgiving, I am done. It's like the end of this story today. We didn't hear the part of the story about that great game that was invented by the Haudenosaunee with the long stick, with the net on the end, that many people call by that French name. There you go. We didn't hear the part of the story about how our families get put together, because it's right at the end. It's on day 3. Yeah, we don't have time to get all the way down there. Yeah. So I am from the Turtle Clan because of that story I just told you. But one of the important things that we learn in that story is about who comes first. Was it a man or a woman? It was the Sky Woman. And so when I tell you that I come from Onondaga, that's because that's where my mother is from. Among the Haudenosaunee, it's very important to us that we say we come from the place and the family that our mother is from. And my mom was Turtle Clan from Onondaga. So that's what I am. Comes from. Okay, that might be your tradition. Lots of people follow that tradition because of to this world. You might think about women differently than if your father was a Methodist minister. I grew up with plenty of time in church. A woman coming from the sky or coming from the water or somebody coming from a mountain or whatever it might be. In a little while, we'll have another fun story in a little bit. But thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you enjoyed that fun story. All right, thank you. All right, we'll turn it back to Reverend AJ.
As you are willing and able, you can hands in prayer position at your heart. And then from this, our Mother Earth, from the animals and the plants down there, and Spirit. Honoring the complexities. If you would like an usher to bring a candle to you, please simply raise your hand. And if you would prefer to use an electric tea light, there are some in a basket in the back of the sanctuary. You can go and bring one of those to place on the altar table. May we now share in this ritual of community care and witness to one another's hearts. hearts, for ourselves, for each other, and for the world is held in this community by the larger love that holds us all, always. Amen. Ashe. And blessed be.
Our musical meditation today is called Evening Breeze. It's a short chant. I'll sing it for you so we can learn it together, and then we'll sing it a few times.
Evening breeze, spirit song, sings to me when the day is done. Mother Earth awakens me with a heartbeat of the sea. Evening breeze, spirit song, sings to me when the day is done. Mother Earth awakens me with a heartbeat of the sea. Evening breeze, spirit song, sings to me when the day is done. Mother Earth awakens me with a heartbeat of the sea. Evening breeze, spirit song, sings to me when the day is done. Mother Earth awakens me with a heartbeat of the sea.
All that our church is and all that our church does is made possible by the time, talent, and treasure that we give to our shared mission. Members and friends support this congregation financially through recurring giving, and on Sundays we also give through our shared collection. As part of the spiritual practice of generosity, 50 cents of every dollar given now to our offering will go to the Friends of Onondaga, whose mission is to honor and promote Haudenosaunee history and culture, and to strengthen traditions through inspirational and transformational programming at Onondaga Historical Site. Using Church Center is the easiest way to give, but if you aren't set up with this app yet, you can also give by texting GIVE, G-I-V-E, and the amount you would like to give to the number on the screen or in the offering baskets that will now be passed. So it's in the spirit of abundance and generosity. Our offering will now be humbly received.
Well, we want to thank our flautists for being with us all day today. They joined with me over at Connections time as well. So I want to thank all of them for being here and spending all day. Give them a nice hand right there, yeah, for that beautiful song. Thank you so much. Well, when we come here together and we share our beliefs together and we share our faith together, whatever it might be, when we join here together in this good way, we want to have some fun. And I hope that you're having some fun with me today. Now, as I mentioned before, my great-grandfather was a Methodist minister, and sometimes when we think of Methodist, we think of quiet and still, and lots of Methodist churches are like that, because I've been to plenty. But in my grandfather's Methodist church, it was very loud, because the people from our community were coming together, and maybe they hadn't seen each other all week or in a few weeks, and they were sharing together, and they were joyful, and they were giving thanks for everything in the world around them, like the fact that we woke up this morning, or that the sun is shining, or that we could be here together. Even like I said at the beginning when I said to you, Nyawe Scano, I give thanks that you are well. What a great thing to give thanks for, right? That we are well and that we can be together. So in my grandfather's church, it was hardly ever quiet. Some of those old women just kept on talking all the time. And that was fine because they were sharing in community. So what we want to do is we want to have one more story right now. And this is a super, super fun story. And lots of our stories teach us things about the world around us. If you have friends or that were here with us earlier today, they heard a different story about a fox and about some apples. So ask your friends about that story. But this story is about something a little bit different. We know that at this time of year, there's lots of birds that are getting ready to migrate, to fly south for the winter time. And so this is a story about that great cycle that those birds go through each year. This is the story about Little Turtle and the geese. Here we go. This story happened a long, long time ago, back when the great Turtle Island is. And back at this time, there was a village of Haudenosaunee people that was near a beautiful, beautiful lake. And in this village, there lived a little girl who everyone called Little Turtle. And Little Turtle did all the things that a Haudenosaunee girl would do back then. She was learning how to plant the three sisters. She was learning how to sew the deerskin into clothes. She was learning how to grind the corn so that she could cook it for everyone to eat. All the jobs that women did long ago. But one day in this village, as the leaves were starting to change color and there was a little chill in the air, a huge flock of geese came flying through the air and flew over their village and landed on that beautiful pond. And if you know anything about geese, you know that geese love to talk to one another. And so all that Little Turtle and the people of the village could hear was as those geese were talking, and it was driving Little Turtle crazy. And she ran down to the edge of that lake and she said, "Geese, be quiet! What are you talking about? Go away from here! Stop talking! Leave me alone!" And she was yelling and yelling at those geese. But her grandfather took Little Turtle back up to the long house, the type of building that our people used to live in, and he said, "Little Turtle, leave the geese alone. They are getting ready to fly south for the winter. They have to practice. They have to teach their young ones. They'll go when they're ready to go." But day after day after day, those geese making all that noise, and it was driving Little Turtle crazy. She would run down to the edge of that lake and she would yell, "Fly south, geese! Fly south!" One day she even picked up some rocks and she tried to throw rocks and sticks at those geese to get them to fly south. But they just looked at her and said, and her grandfather took her back to the longhouse. Little turtle, let the geese be. Don't throw things. Don't be mean to the geese. They'll go when they're ready to go. Every day, little turtle, as it was getting colder and colder, running down to the edge of that lake, yelling, "Fly south, geese, fly south!" One morning, little turtle woke up inside of her long house. And it was quiet. Little turtle jumped up and poked her head outside of the door of the long house, and she looked down at that lake and she saw the geese were gone. They had flown south. And little turtle said, "Oh, finally, the geese are gone. I'm so happy." And that day she went out with her friends and she played with her cornhusk dolls, and they grinded up some corn and they had lots to eat. And little turtle was overjoyed that the geese were gone. But that night, as she laid down to go to sleep inside of the long house, something seemed wrong. Something seemed to be missing. Well, she woke up again the next day and she poked her head out of the house. Oh, they're still gone. Good. They flew south. And little turtle was happy still that the geese were gone. But throughout that day, as she was playing with her friends, every once in a while, it seemed like something was missing. And day after day after day, as the snow started to fall and it got to be very cold, and the nights were very, very long, and the people huddled inside of their long houses, spending that winter listening to stories inside. Every day, little turtle something was wrong. Something was missing. Well, after several months, the spirit of spring came, and he threw that warm raspberry juice onto the spirit of winter, forcing him to melt. And it started to get warmer and warmer, and the ice broke on the lakes and melted away, and the buds on the trees started to come back out. And one day, as the people were waking up, the beating of hundreds and hundreds of wings flew low over the village. And those birds came down and landed on that lake once again. And those geese again started to talk to each other. And inside the long house, little turtle heard those geese talking. And she jumped up out of her bed and she ran to the door, and she saw hundreds and hundreds of geese down on that lake. So she sprinted down to the edge of that lake and she yelled, "Welcome home, geese! Welcome home!" And she went and she gathered some of that ground corn and she threw it into the lake so that the geese would have plenty to eat. And all day she sat by the edge of that lake watching those beautiful geese swimming around. And back at the longhouse, her grandfather sat down and smiled, knowing that little turtle had learned an important lesson about the cycles in nature. Doneho, that story is done. Now, one of the important things about that story right there that I just shared with you, it's not an old story. It's a Perry Ground original story. It's one that I made up myself. Now, I hope that it sounds like a story that maybe people told hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And the thing that's important to me about that, two things. Number one, it's based on my daughter, who I called Little Turtle. She doesn't like that anymore. She's 25. And she doesn't like that so much anymore. But I used to live out near the wide waters of the Erie Canal out towards Newark, if you know where this is. And those geese love to gather at the wide waters. And we heard them all the time. And my daughter used to yell at them to fly south. That's where that story comes from. Yeah, so it is an original story. But the other important thing about that is that we're still making up stories. The Haudenosaunee are a living and dynamic and changing culture. And yeah, that story people didn't tell hundreds of years ago, but we can tell it today. And it's important to keep these stories alive and to keep telling them. So I hope you enjoyed hearing some of these stories today and learning a little bit more about the Haudenosaunee, because we still live here in this community. I'm a professor over at RIT. And I live right here in Henrietta. And so it's very important to remember that there are Native people all around us, and we can celebrate these cultures and these shared beliefs that we all have together. So thank you so much for having me here today. I hope you enjoyed hearing these stories. Thank you.
Please rise in voice, body, and spirit for our closing hymn, For the Beauty of the Earth. Remember, we have that martial training at 1 o'clock. Come early next week for connections. And if you're willing and able, help us stack the chairs with arms, with the chairs with arms, and the chairs without arms, with other chairs without arms. That will be very helpful. Many hands make light work. We appreciate it. And please join us as Grant extinguishes the chalice. Help us extinguish it with the unison words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And in benediction, I turn it back over to Perry.
Well, whenever we start with the Thanksgiving address, we also close with a very, very short Thanksgiving address. So let's bring our hearts and minds together as one once more as we give thanks for everything in the world around us. We'll give thanks to our mother and everything along her back, the waters, the plants, the food, the medicine, the trees, the animals, the birds that fly above us, up into the sky, the sun, the moon, the stars, those spirit helpers that will continue to guide us on our way and to think with the good mind, and of course to the Creator who teaches us everything that we need to stay alive. So let's bring our hearts and minds together as one and be joyful that we had this time together. Now, I do want to finish by teaching you an Onondaga word. And in our language, we do not have a word that means goodbye. We say, Onigoweha. Onigoweha. O, ni, ga, we, ha. Onigoweha. It means until we see each other again. Onigoweha. Have a great, great day. Thank you so much.